Sunlight filters through the leaves, dappling the grass, where a young mother laughs, her arms wrapped around her two small boys, Mark and Martin. They tumble in a joyful pile, their world a perfect, sun-kissed bubble of shared affection. The scene fast forwards through a series of happy memories, a tapestry of childhood joy. Then the years blur, and the boys are teenagers. In a brightly lit school auditorium, Mark stands on stage, a medal around his neck, clutching an academic award. His mother rushes to him, her face alight with pride, enveloping him in a fierce, congratulatory hug. In the background, just out of the spotlight's main glare, Martin stands holding a sketchbook. He takes a tentative step forward, wanting to show her a detailed drawing he's poured his heart into, but her attention is a laser beam, focused solely on Mark's triumph. Martin hesitates, the corners of his mouth turning down, before letting the sketchbook fall to his side, unseen and unacknowledged. The moment passes, a small, quiet fracture in the family portrait. The small crack widens into a chasm. A montage of scenes shows Martin's slow drift into the shadows of his own home. He eats dinner alone at the kitchen counter, the sound of his family's cheerful chatter about Mark's latest debate club victory echoing from the dining room. His bedroom, once bright and filled with art supplies, grows progressively darker. The curtains often drawn even during the day. His art is replaced by posters of angry-faced bands. He begins spending his time with a new group of friends, their leather jackets and cynical laughter, a stark contrast to the clean-cut world his brother inhabits. Family dinners become a minefield of tension. Every question is for Mark. Every story revolves around his future, his scholarships, his successes. Martin sits in stony, resentful silence, pushing food around his plate, his presence a heavy, unspoken accusation. His mother, sensing the growing distance, tries to bridge the gap. "Martin, why don't you apply yourself like your brother?" she asks, her words intended as encouragement, but landing like sharp-edged stones. "You have so much potential if you would just try." Each attempt to connect only pushes him further away, her concern sounding too much like comparison, too much like criticism. The rebellion that started with sullen silence escalates. He starts skipping school, then graduates to petty shoplifting with his new friends. The thrill of the illicit act, a balm for his wounded ego. The piercing ring of the telephone shatters the quiet of a deep night. The mother's heart lurches as she answers, her face draining of color as a frantic, official voice speaks on the other end. She throws on a coat over her pajamas and rushes out into the cold, dark street. She arrives at a scene of chaotic, flashing lights, red and blue, strobing across storefronts and anxious faces. Police cars block the road, their presence a jarring intrusion into the familiar neighborhood. Pushing through a small crowd of onlookers, she sees him, her son, Martin. His hands are cuffed behind his back, his head bowed as an officer guides him toward the back of a police car. The defiance has vanished from his face, replaced by a stark, hollow fear. Mark is there too, having followed her out. He stands beside their mother, his own face a mask of shock and helpless disbelief, watching as the car door closes on his younger brother, swallowing him into the darkness. The world seems to fall away, leaving only the wail of a distant siren and the image of her son being driven away, a prisoner. The visiting room is sterile and cold, a stark contrast to the warmth of their family home. The mother sits on one side of a thick pane of glass, Martin on the other. They speak through a telephone receiver, their voices tinny and distant. There are no easy words, only the shared weight of pain and unspoken regret reflected in their eyes. Days later, back in the silence of her now too empty house, she finds herself cleaning Martin's room, a task she'd long avoided. Tucked away under a pile of old clothes, she discovers the sketchbook he tried to show her all those years ago. She opens it to the last drawing, a detailed, loving portrait of her, a smiling sun radiating from behind her head. The lines are filled with a child's adoration. Tears well in her eyes, blurring the image as years of regret crash down upon her. She clutches the drawing to her chest, the thin paper a tangible symbol of everything she missed. With a new, painful clarity, she sits down at her desk. She picks up a pen and a fresh sheet of paper and begins to write a letter. It's just the first word, his name, but it's a start. It's the first stone laid on the long, uncertain path toward mending what has been so deeply broken.